Today I'm going to teach you guys how to do a basic sewing machine wig. Right now all I'm doing is fixing my cap on my canvas head. My canvas head is 21 inches, which is pretty much standard, and you can alter it depending on your client's head to make it a little bit bigger. But I highly recommend that you measure the perimeter of your client's head as well as the front of their hairline to their nape and from ear to ear. Now that that's done, I'm just going to take my silver marker, make a line down the middle, then connect it over to the sides. This is to give me a guide when I'm laying my tracks down. I usually have about 11 lines maximum. Now I am adding down my closure. I just put the closure just a bit before the hairline. Put 2 pins in the front and of course 2 pins in the back. Go ahead and put your closure in a bun or a ponytail to get that hair out the way because you do not want it in your way while you are sewing your tracks down. I'm adding in the rest of my guidelines now with my silver marker, making sure they reach the end of the closure. So this is how I sew down my closure. I just put in my needle first. Make sure you put your needle through the thinnest layer on the dome cap. Then I make a standard knot at the end. 1 knot and then knot number 2. I cut the little string off. Then I go back and put in my needle again. This time I loop the needle around 3 or 4 times, then pull it through very tightly. As you can see, I'm pulling with my fingers to make sure the knot is very tight until I get to the end. Then I pull it close, separate the strings, and then pull them apart. And this is how I secure my first and second stitch. And then we just keep sewing, just keep sewing. So when I get to the end of my closure, which is at the front of my head, what I do is sew backwards in the direction I came from. The reason being, I don't want to tie my knot in the front of my head where my closure is, because you can see that knot when you're styling your head or when you're trying to lay your lace down. And then I knot my knot 1, 2, 3 times around. Then I pull it through securely, pull it apart, and then pull it again. So you're going to repeat the same thing on the back. What you want to do is use 3 separate strings when you're doing your closure. 1 for each of the sides and 1 for the back. You don't want to sew it all the way around just in case you accidentally cut or rip your closure, it doesn't unravel the whole entire thing. Started with my basic 2 knots. Then I go around for the second loop and turn that around my needle about 3 or 4 times. Pull it through. Make sure it's super tight. Pull the strings apart, then pull it close. Remember, once you get to the end, you're going to go backwards. This is so the knot is not at the end. Then you're going to go ahead, once you're a little bit backwards, do your loops and make it tight. Now we're going to cut the extra skin behind the lace. Of course, don't get too close to your thread because we do not want to start over. So something that's super important is working at your own pace. I know this might not be the only sewing machine wig video that you watch. You're gonna see a lot of people go fast, a lot of people move quick. You do not wanna do that if you're not at that level. I used to try to be fast and work and mimic these other people on YouTube making their wigs, and my wig ended up messed up. So go as slowly as you can. As long as you're doing it right, you'll be fine. So you want to first start off by putting your weft to your cap on the line. Go ahead and go forward, do a back stitch back, go forward again. So when you see me put my finger on that little piece there, that's me doing the back stitch, and now I'm going to be going forward. This is going 2 times fast, and you see it still looks slow. So I'm working at my own pace to make sure everything comes out looking good. A very important note as well, you do not want to stretch your cap. You do want to make sure that the cap is completely flat, but you do not want to stretch it. If you stretch it, you're going to end up sewing your wig way bigger than you need to. And at the end of your weft, you're going to go ahead and back stitch, reverse, go forward, and then back stitch again. Pick up your needle, cut it, and then cut the weft that is hanging out on the end there. But why my big toe look like SpongeBob's though? What? Here we go again, forward stitch, hit them with the back stitch, then go ahead and go forward and follow the guidelines. Do not stretch your cap, make sure it's flat. You don't want it to pile up or for it to get stuck. And just go ahead and sew all the way through. Keep your foot on that pedal, move at your pace. You do not have to go fast. You're gonna get the same results if you go slow. Might be even better for you if you go slower. That toe's still moving. Y'all see it down there. Back stitch, forward, back stitch, remove it, cut it off, cut off the weft. And then you should get something like this. So this is me just showing you guys another angle. Hopefully this is better than the first. I've been trying to move my camera around to make sure you guys can see what's going on. Go ahead and lay your track down on the line, forward stitch, back stitch, then forward again. I said it twice, but I'm gonna say it again. Do not stretch. Just make sure your cap is flat. It's going to fit. It's fine. Forward, back, forward. You're basically a professional now. If you've been able to go ahead and sew down these first 3 tracks and the back doesn't look completely crazy, you're practically a professional. All you need to do is continue practicing and this will be so much easier. The bundles my client brought seemed a little bit thin, so I did start off single wefts at the beginning. Now I'm just going to be doubling some tracks. So you just need to put the tracks together, but don't put them completely on top of each other. You're going to kind of put them side by side, but as close as you can. You're going to move it forward. It's going to be kind of hard. Back stitch, pull them towards you just a little bit. And then to thread it forward again, you're going to have to pull the hair from the other side to make sure the weft goes through. Otherwise, the weft is just going to stay in one place and never actually go through the machine. So start pulling it, and then eventually you'll see it lining up. This is going to be hard. It's going to be kind of crooked. You're going to mess up a little bit on your first time. But what you need to do is just go back and put it under the sewing machine one other time to just make sure it's completely good. So go ahead and put these 2 wefts together. If you don't like the way it looks, just go ahead and run over it again with the sewing machine. Here are the results. Nothing different when you're putting down a double weft. Here are the results of the back side of the cap. As you can see, it's not completely perfect, but as long as it's on there and it's not moving, you're on your way to being a professional. Thanks for watching. Here's my client's finished wig. In the next video, I'll show you guys how to transform this into a silky straight wig.